Hello YouTube, this is Vegeta here, and today I'll be making a video in response to Luigis 2011. He made a video talking about his favorite RPGs and sort of how he got into them, and this is sort of how I got into my RPGs. I first started gaming like the Nintendo era. My grandma bought a Nintendo, and I was probably like 5 or so, 6, around that age. So I wasn't really big into them. And then she got Mario, and I started playing that. And then when I first started playing video games like Nintendo, I didn't really play RPGs. Like I was into I remember renting like G.I. Joe for Nintendo or Trog, if anyone's ever played Trog for Nintendo. Like games like that, like action games. And then I don't even remember when my first RPG was. I remember like my cousin was big into RPG, him and his dad. And then for Nintendo, Final Fantasy 1 and Dragon Warrior. Those are like the 2 RPGs I remember, especially Final Fantasy. Dragon Warrior I didn't really get into as much, and then 2, 3, and 4, my cousin was huge into them. But I always liked Final Fantasy. Like I liked I like the battle system way more. How you can see your characters on the side compared to Dragon Warrior, whereas just facing the enemies. And Dragon Warrior 1 seemed like, when I played it, as soon as you crossed the bridge, it seemed like the monsters were like 10 levels higher, and I'd just get wiped out, and it just annoyed me greatly. And I was young, so I didn't know. But this Nintendo is not where I got big into RPGs. Super Nintendo is where I got into RPGs like big. But we'll get to the Super Nintendo last. Next, I'm going to start with, I think the PlayStation probably has the best overall RPGs, hands down. Well, Super Nintendo is pretty close. And I'll just go with my favorite RPGs for the PlayStation that I've actually played. I have a bunch of them, haven't played, or I've played like very little, don't like, etc. I actually have Final Fantasy VII playing in the background. Wild Arms. I got this game before I even had a PlayStation. Like, I begged my grandma to buy it for me. She did. I loved this game. I love the characters. I like 2D sprites a lot better in gaming. That's why I like Super Nintendo games so much. And I like how you could dash everywhere. Like, if anyone's played this game, they'll know what I mean, where you click and you hold it down and you can just dash, kind of like a Zelda. And I thought that was really cool. And the characters, like, just the world, I thought was really nice. It did have like 3D battles, which looked pretty bad. But back in the day, it wasn't so bad. But now it's like terrible. I wish they had done 2D, like the actual game. It's kind of hard to see, but like there's a battler, like it's in 3D. But I recommend this. I actually have 2, 3, and 4, and I've never played them. But I like the bad guy in this. This thing is Siegfried. He is pretty cool. So yeah, Wild Arms is great. This game, amazing story. The battle system was really good. From what I remember, I just thought it was really cool with mechs, but like it was kind of weird because I was young when I bought this, and the story to do with id kind of confused me. Like if I played it now, I could understand. Like as I think back on it, but when I was a kid, I was like, what is this? But I love the animation, like the animation cutscenes. Faye and I believe her name was Sophia. I loved how they got along. Anything with like a romantic kind of story to it, I like. And I totally recommend Xenogears. It's much better than Xenosaga. I like Xenosaga, but it was more like a book to me. This, I'll come back to these. And, okay, actually, Saga Frontier. This is not as known RPG, but it's still fun. It's like cartoony graphics. This is like one of the few games I ever got one of my sisters to actually play with me. And like you actually pick between like I don't remember. 8 different characters or something at the start, and then you play through their story, and they'll interact with each other, and you'll recruit some in the other stories. But it's fun. Beautiful, like hand-drawn graphics for the backgrounds. If you can see there, it's very pretty. And the battle system was pretty fun. You can get quite a few people in your party, which I liked. And it's kind of weird how you learn combos and stuff. Like, I still don't know. And then, which is broken, but Final Fantasy 7 and 8. 7, I remember getting for Christmas and waking up, and I just sat there and started playing before I had to go to my family's house. Good game. Everyone says it's the best Final Fantasy, or a lot of people say it's the best Final Fantasy ever. You know, Cloud, Sephiroth's awesome. Not the best bad guy in Final Fantasy ever. Or Cloud's not the best character in Final Fantasy, in my opinion. But good. I thought it was a pretty good story. For the time, it was amazing graphics. It was just like, wow. And then you go back and play it now, and it's like, killing me. But it's cool. I hated Kate Sith. And Ares was a huge shocker. This is the first game I was just like, wow, I can't believe that happened. 8, I've never beat. I got to Adele, I think that was her name, on disc 3, and never could beat her when I was younger, and I've never played back through it since. Not a big fan of Squall. I hate the gun blades. I thought were really stupid, but I like the kind of love story between them. I can't remember her name. Riona? Ooh, I don't know if that's right or not. It was pretty good. 7 I liked much better than 8. Graphics for 8 were good though. And then 9 I actually have only played through just the first 2 discs, and I barely remember. I need to play through it. Suikoden 1, or Suikoden, I call it Suikoden. Suikoden 2. My favorite RPG on the PlayStation 2, Suikoden 2. Which, to me, you have to beat them in order, because you have to load your save to get the main character into 2. Amazing. I love how you can get all the characters. I remember seeing my stepdad play Suikoden before I had a PlayStation, and I was like, whoa, what is that? And so I just happened to see it one day and bought it. I probably beat this game like 5 times. Great. Suikoden 2 I beat once or I think twice, and I'm actually playing through it again. Much better than 1. The graphics were better. The characters were more, I thought, more in depth. Like 1, I could beat 1 in probably like, I don't know, 10 to 15 hours if I played through it quick. 2 overall was better. Yeah. And that was like my PlayStation RPGs that I super love. But PlayStation had the best strategy RPGs, or tactical RPGs, strategy RPGs is what I call them. And everyone knows Final Fantasy Tactics. Awesome. Once you get Sid, though, the game gets pretty easy because Sid's just crazy overpowered. I love the story. The end was just okay for me. I hate endings where it's kind of leaves it up to your imagination. I want to be told what happens. But great characters, great gameplay. I mean, this is probably the best, or probably tied for the best strategy RPG game ever, in my opinion. And this is the game is tied with Tactics Ogre. This game is great. Also, both of these games are very political. Like, if you actually pay attention to the story, Tactics Ogre seems a little more mature, for a little more mature audience. But this game is great, especially if you love like the ogre battles and played like the originals. You'll know some of the characters like Lands and Canopus, and there's a couple other ones I can't even remember. Yeah. And then Vandal Hearts 2. I've never played the first one. This game is incredibly political. I think it's probably more political than the other two. And the unique thing about this one is the battle system, when you move, the AI moves also. So y'all move at the same time. So you have to sort of anticipate what the AI is going to do, which I think added. A lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it. It added to the gameplay. It made you think a little more instead of just straightforward. From what I remember, it's been a long time. I love the story to this game. There's kind of a glare. It's hard to see, but yeah, this thing is very, just like Final Fantasy Tactics, pretty religious also, like political / religious, whereas Tactics Ogre's more, a little religious, but it's more political. And then Brigandine. Can't find my case, but this game is more well, I guess they're all turn-based strategy, but this one's kind of different in that you pick your kingdom, and I'm trying to set on a world map. There's not like so much. There's a little story, but compared to the other three, there's like no story in this one if you compare them. This one's more of just a straight strategy game where you fight, take over land, but it's fun. It's a little easy if you pick. There's two kingdoms that are allied to each other, and they're right beside each other, and it's a little easy if you pick those because you can't be attacked on that border. But other than that, it's fun. And that is all the PlayStation RPGs I like. I love, like I said, I love traditional RPGs, but strategy RPGs are just amazing also. Like, it seems like they could tell the stories great as it progresses, like Final Fantasy Tactics and Tactics Ogre. And then we have current generation. Like, I've seen people talk about action RPGs, Western RPGs, and I love Fable 1. It was too short, was the only problem, but I thought it was the best Fable in the series. Fable 2, which I have. I don't have 1 now. 2 was pretty good. It wasn't as good as 1, but the loading times just killed me. Like, seriously, it felt like it took like 3 minutes just to navigate through the menu, like to equip items or something. It was ridiculous. And then Fable 3, I've only played a little bit, and I kind of got burnt out because I beat 2 like right before 3 came out, and then I just like didn't want to play 3. And the menu in 3, while they tried to be innovative, I don't love it either. It's kind of weird. And then, to me, the best current gen series, and probably one of the best series ever. Haven't beat the 3rd one, have it up there, waiting for a patch to fix the faces so I can import my characters. But I love it. I love Mass Effect. Like, I heard the ending's terrible. Don't run it. I'm gonna beat it pretty soon. But 1 just blew my mind. I don't like sci-fi games. I like fantasy setting games, but I just randomly gave this a shot. I think I pre-ordered it, actually, Mass Effect 1, and then obviously 2 and 3. And I just fell in love. Like, my son would sit there with me, and he's almost 3 now, and he would crawl out of bed and come in there and watch me play it. The characters are great. Great story. My only complaint is it could be longer. Like, I'm not talking about the side quests, because half the time I don't do side quests. I can't be bothered to deal with those. I mean, unless I am in the mood. But it's pretty short for an RPG. Like, typical, if you compared it to like old Final Fantasy or something, or you know. So yeah, the Mass Effects are awesome. And then Super Nintendo. Probably my favorite console ever. I'll start with since this is more of a strategy game, Romance of the Three Kingdoms 3. My stepdad actually owned a video store, and I traded him like Mario Kart or something, and randomly picked this game up, had no idea what it was, took it home, fell in love. I probably played this game more than, like, besides WoW now, this game more than any game ever. Well, maybe Civilization series, like Civilization 2 I played a ton. This is set in like ancient China, and it's pure strategy. Like, if you don't know, look it up. you control your kingdom and you give them give characters commands like spy on someone, recruit soldiers, typical stuff. But these games get very in depth. Like if you've never played one, you'll be like, what is going on? Especially well, the later versions. I'll say like 7 through 10. 11's a little different. It's easier, I think, to sort of pick up and play. But yeah, and if anyone's ever played this, Liu Bei, absolute favorite character. Love him. And this is actually based on history, which is pretty cool. Three Kingdoms era. Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. I know it's incredibly simple, but this game I bought when I was way young. Like, I don't know. And I remember like playing through this. What I remember so much about this game is I was up in my room playing it, and I looked outside, and my mom was driving down the driveway, and there was snow all over the ground, and I was sitting there in the ice place. I guess it's like the second area. I think Phoebe was in your team, and I just like it's one of those memories that are in my mind. So like this game holds like a special place in my heart. And then Robotrek. Not many people have probably played this game. Like, you're a little boy and you actually can get 3 robots to fight for you. I beat this game and it's a very good game. Like, it's not your typical RPG, I'd say, just because you have robots fight for you and you actually can modify the robots. And it's fun. Like, the thing that sticks in my mind for this game is, if anyone's ever listened to Styx, which I actually went and seen them in concert like when I was in 7th grade. It's an old band, like probably 70s and 80s. And there's a forest in here called like Illusion Forest or something. And I actually was listening to The Grand Illusion, and I just fell in love with Styx and this game because of that song. And like anytime I think of this game, I think of Styx, The Grand Illusion song. I recommend this game. I kind of figure this game's pretty expensive now, but I'm not positive. And then Lufia 1 and 2, which I do not have and I want. 2 is better than 1. I love 2. 2 is actually a prequel to 1. I recommend these. I don't know, they were kind of bland, like the dungeons and all that stuff. But I like the characters, and for some reason, I love this game. I don't know why. It's not amazing or anything. But 2 actually looks really good for a Super Nintendo game, obviously. And, yeah, I recommend Lufia. It's probably kind of hard to find now, also. And then, Final Fantasy 2/4. My cousin actually had this game, and I always, like, seen him play it. And I finally was able to get a copy, and I beat it. Great game. Great Final Fantasy game. I don't know. The thing I like about this is best is you can't change classes. Like, say, Cecil is a Dark Knight or a Paladin throughout the game. And he can't learn, like, every magical spell. You're sort of set in the type of character architecture or whatever, You can't switch like him to a mage or a cleric or priest or whatever you want to call him. And I like that about the game. The story was good. I liked Cecil and Rosa interaction, obviously. And I liked how your brother played a part in it. It was like... And there was a pretty big surprise when, I won't say, but someone died. That's all I'm going to say. And I was like, wow, okay. That's pretty crazy. It's a good game. And then that's pretty much all our Super Nintendo. I have Breath of Fire and stuff, but I haven't even beat it, so I'm not putting it in here. And then my favorite game of all time. Can anyone guess? Dramatic pause. Final Fantasy 3. I love this game. Do you want to know how much I love this game? My son's name is Locke. No lie. He's almost 3, and I talked my wife into naming him Locke. And actually, my daughter is going to be born in July, and her name is going to be Celeste. I love this game so much, and my wife doesn't know better. This game, best characters ever. Absolute. This actually is the game that got me into RPGs like so much. I rented it from my local game store, and I was probably 10 or so. And I remember setting up in my room, and it was really hot. Like, it was during the summer, and I had the fan on full, sitting in my room playing it at night. And I could not get past when you play Locke and you go to South Figaro and you're trying to save Celeste. That part, I could not figure out where to go. I didn't know you had to go back down the stairs or whatever in one of the houses. And I was just like, wow, this game is so awesome, but I couldn't beat it. And then I got it for my birthday in 95, and I've probably beat this game like 3 or 4 times. I love the story, love the characters. My only gripe would be the World of Balance is so much better than the World of Run. That'd be my only gripe. The World of Run, like, they did away with the 3D mode, like, you know, when you walk on the world map, or I'm not sure exactly what it's called. And that kind of disappointed me, or you couldn't see it as clearly. And I wasn't as much of a fan of how the World of Run was kind of bleak. I mean, obviously it's a World of Run, but I like the forest, lush, green. But the Opera House scene, wow. For a video game, I was like, that is amazing. And even the Phantom Train, like, there was so many memorable moments in this game. And I love it. If I ever like get enough money, I'm gonna buy like a complete sealed box of this game. And I told my wife, bury me with this game when I die. Yeah, I can't say enough about that game. And Chrono Trigger, that's a lot of people's favorite game ever. I really like Chrono Trigger. It's not my favorite game ever by far. Like Final Fantasy 3 far outweighed it. I never beat Chrono Trigger though, but I got to the final boss, so I pretty much played all of it. It was really good. Don't get me wrong. It's just there's some other games I like better. It would probably be in the close to the 10 range for my favorite RPGs ever. Maybe closer to 5 to 10. So yeah, but this game, this is how I got into RPGs right here. So that's why this will always hold a special place in my heart. And then like PS2 RPGs, I have a ton of them, but I didn't really play them. Like I'm starting to play them now. And I just started playing Legend of Dragoon, which I've heard people say great things. But when I played it, when I first bought it, I thought the story was kind of bland, but I think I was only like an hour into it. After playing it, I was like, I think I only got to here. So yeah, and then, Zelda games. I love Zelda games, like action RPGs. I beat Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past, which I don't have them now, but I'm going to get them. And yeah, and I have Twilight Princess, which I didn't love. I haven't beat it, but I was probably about 5-6 hours in, just guessing when I first had it, and then I sold it, and then I bought it again. So yeah, that is how I got into RPGs. Like Final Fantasy was my big one. I wasn't really a big Dragon Warrior fan. And then Final Fantasy kind of went downhill after the PlayStation 1 era. More like after 8, I kind of quit playing them. I mean, I have them, but... And then I've sort of moved on to like Mass Effect type games, even though... And I've noticed with PlayStation 2 games, they use the real-time battle systems like Rogue Galaxy or Dragon Quest or, you know, all these... the Tales games, which I have a bunch of them. It's not that I hate it. It's just that I find myself wanting to play like a classic turn-based RPG, and like I can't find any current gen. You know, Lost Odyssey is about the only one. You know, Blue Dragon, but I didn't really like Blue Dragon that much, and so it's pretty disappointing. That's why I've been buying them like for PSP and stuff, but I don't like playing handheld that much. Maybe like right before I go to bed, and that's only like every once in a while. So, but yeah, that's how I got into RPGs and strategy RPGs, and I love both of them. Action RPGs are pretty good, but yeah. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.